Ashton was born to us through adoption. So we always said that she chose us. And from the very beginning, she was very much focused on family. It was very important for her to have family around. As she got older, she sensed that she was just very caring all the time. And as she grew up, she went through her normal changes and rebellious stages. But she was always very focused on us as a family. It was always us against the world, because being military, moving every 1.5 to 2 years, it was a challenge for her to find her people. So we were her people. And when we finally settled, when we went to Colorado, she started college in Colorado and then transferred here to Georgia. And she found her people here. And you can pick up from there.
I would say what stood out was Ashton was always a leader. She was never afraid to speak her mind. She always had a clarity of vision for things that needed to be done, and then she always took action to do them. And as an example, I spent a year deployed in Africa, and I happened to tell Ashton that the children there could not go to school because they didn't have school supplies. And the rule of the land was you had to bring your own supplies or you were disenrolled. So Ashton was completely unhappy with that idea and started a charity drive and started shipping school supplies to Djibouti, Africa from Colorado Springs in order to make sure that these children could actually get the education they needed to break the cycle of poverty. So even from her youngest days, she had that focus of helping others, breaking the cycle of poverty, and then putting concrete actions in place to make that happen.
When she moved here, she got involved in volunteering for an organization called Women to the World. It was a PALS program, GED and literacy training for women, specifically women, and often English is a second language. English is her only language, but she was actually teaching herself Spanish in order to help teach them. But she really found that these women were really trying to better their lives, and she would come home after volunteering and mentoring them, and she said, I'm so filled by them. They fill me up. And they were struggling women. A lot of them were living in subsidized housing and had no transportation, single moms, and she found that there was a need to help and mentor these women so that they didn't have to be living in poverty and living on welfare, but they can better their lives and make that move forward to contribute to society and have that boost of self-esteem that they can do it. And I think that happened just really a handful of years before we lost her, and it became her passion.
In a lot of ways, she was drawn to those women because the opportunity lost was not just the GED, the education, the high school education. She recognized that there were secondary impediments. They didn't know how to shake somebody's hand firmly, look them in the eye, and state their name as if they were confident in their own name. They didn't understand how to behave in a professional environment. They didn't know how to dress in a professional environment. And Ashton always dressed to the nines. Even going into the roughest neighborhoods of Athens to teach these women, she would dress full up, stiletto heels, bright red lipstick, and march in there like she owned the place. And her lesson to the women was, if you are bold and know how to behave, you will go far in the world. If you're timid and don't know how to behave, this is the life you will live forever. So follow me, this is what we're going to do. And that's part of the reason she was so focused on women, because most guys have that kind of mentorship in the world. The women did not. She chose that was her path.
She started the foster program in the Coney County Animal Shelter, and that was 5 or 6 years ago. And since then there had been no animals that were euthanized that were adoptable, and she helped, she worked with Habitat for Humanity, she worked with Spencer Fry, not on the building houses, because it would be hard to build houses in high-heeled shoes, but in fundraising. And she worked with Community Connections, the 411 program, doing Taste of Athens, and she was a supporter of Jeanette Rankin. I mean, wherever she was asked to help and wherever she saw where she could be used, she was there. And she, you know, she did work. She worked for My Athens for a while, and as a consultant. Mm-hmm. And her passion was definitely in the community and helping those who needed the help. That's always very hard. She was at her prime. She bought a house in February, and we lost her in August. And she'd been accepted into the UGA grad program for interracial communications and social justice. And it was an accelerated program where she would have got her master's and PhD in one program. And she was 1 week into the program, and she was coming home, I think, and she'd spent the evening with a couple friends who had lost their dog that day, and she had her class that she was teaching the next day, and she packed up her things, went to Barbaritos to get comfort food for them, and went over to their house to comfort them in their loss. And I think she was coming home that night because she forgot the cat food. And I had the cat food, and her dogs were at my house, and so she was probably coming home from their house, and it was a single car accident. We don't really know what happened, but it happened. You know, it's kind of a blur as to how everything evolved. The first year was just a blur, but about 2 weeks after we lost Ashton, I felt like we couldn't just live with this grief and not do anything. And so it literally was about 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
I had written, in the middle of the night, I wrote something down, and I wrote Ashton Hope Keegan Foundation. And then we talked about it, and I said, this is what we have to do. We have to carry on her passion and make it our passion. And, you know, that way her legacy lives on. People won't forget her. It gives us an opportunity to share who she was, and not only what she meant to us, but what she meant to our community. It's amazing talking to people and going around our community that people will say, you know, I knew Ashton. Let me tell you a story. And you know, 3 years post losing her, I'm still hearing new stories as to how she's influenced people. And that makes it, that punctuates why we're doing what we're doing. Her passion is our passion, and her legacy will continue on and influence our community, influence the lives of these women that we help.
And the logo for our foundation is Ashton's signature. And from the first days that she was able to write, she had always signed her name Love Ashton. There was always a heart in front of her name. So the logo for the foundation is Love Ashton with the heart. So the foundation is on track to deliver goods and services to women to further their education. One of the things we say is that getting a woman a GED so that she can go from being a maid in a seedy motel to being a maid in a 2-star motel is not progress. It's just not enough. So what we're doing is we're getting them that GED education, but now we've partnered up with educational institutions where they're going to go into a trade, get a certification, so that they can go quickly from their GED studies to the certification and into the professional workforce. Our vision is that although these women are struggling today for subsistence, our goal is that they and their children will strive for their dreams, and that's going to require that education all the way across. Our foundation has been on a trajectory that we couldn't have even imagined when we started. In our first year, we were able to give 3 GED scholarships about 2 weeks before the anniversary of losing Ashton. In our second year, we were able to give another 3 GED scholarships as well as 9 continuing education scholarships. In our third year, we've been able to give 26 scholarships to date, with several more pending. And one of the most important things is we were able to double the amount of the scholarships from $500 to $1,000 each. Part of the reason that that's so important is that we were recognizing that tuition was only part of the issue that the women were facing in order to get their education. The secondary impediments to education, like childcare, like transportation, like vaccinations, uniforms, other requirements of the curriculum that aren't covered by things like a Hope Scholarship, were an impediment that these women were unable to overcome. So by being able to double the amount of scholarship money, as well as almost triple the number of scholarships, we've been able to date, give more than 50 scholarships to women in less than 3 years as an organization.
Well, I imagine we'll continue growing and hoping that we can just continue to partner up with other institutions to help women who are on the path to better their lives and the lives of their families.
I think partnering is the key term. We can do things with a small group of people, but the more people we involve, the greater it gets. And an example would be working with Women to the World. We are now setting up what we're calling the Ashton Hope Keegan Learning Lab, where we're funding 16 student computers plus a instructor computer in a fully networked lab. And what this gives the women is the ability to do online GED education and practice tests. And then they're also going to get training on the Microsoft Office suite of tools, so that as they get into the workforce, they have a valuable skill other than just the blue-collar skill that's getting them started. By having that extra value add, we're now providing a career path that can lead them from a blue-collar job into an office-type job and accelerate their ability to raise their wages, take better care of their family, break the cycle of poverty. As partnerships with Athens Tech goes, our partnership has gone off in several unexpected ways that have actually enhanced the ability of the foundation to give women opportunities in our community. An example would be that for our annual Hope Gala, we have engaged with Athens Tech interior design students, as well as their hotel, restaurant, and event management students, to help do the decorations and planning for the annual Hope Gala. This gives these women an opportunity to use their education, provide it in a real-world setting so that they actually have something for their resume as they graduate, and it gives them an impromptu job interview as their decor, their leadership is on display for all the senior leaders in our community at the Hope Gala. It has led in the past to several of these women getting quick jobs immediately upon graduation, and this year the design students, 3 of them are returning from last year because they were so excited about what they got to do, they want to do it again. All of this represents opportunity that came out of that partnership with Athens Technical College. The Hope Gala is our annual main fundraiser for the foundation. We hold it the week in January of Ashton's birthday, one weekend or the other. And it's our opportunity to both raise funds for the upcoming year, as well as celebrate the activities, the successes, the women who have benefited from the previous year's gala. As an example, in the past gala, we had women who got the scholarships come up and speak to the benefactors for what it meant in their life to have been given that opportunity. It also gives us a chance to recognize the people who work the foundation. They're very much working behind the scenes and working hard all year. This is our chance to present them to the community as well, to see the big-hearted people that are out there trying to make a difference. I would say the message is, you're the partner we're looking for. we need you to help us, whether that's sponsoring for the Hope Gala, attending the Hope Gala, coming out and helping with events that we put on. All of those things require people who are passionate about education and getting these women out of the cycle of poverty and into the workforce, into a better life for them and their children. So please join us, come with us, and let's make this happen.
Brush fire fairy tales, itsy bitsy diamond wells, big flat hurricanes, yellow belly giving names. Well, shortcuts can slow you down, and in the end we're bound to rebound off of weed. So dust off your thinking caps, solar-powered plastic plants, pretty pictures of things we ate. We are only what we hate. But in the long run we have found silent films are full of sound, inaudibly free. 2, 3, 4. Slow down, everyone, you're moving too fast. Frames can't get you when you're moving like that. Inaudible melodies of narrational strategies, unobtrusive tones help to notice nothing but the zone of visual relevancy. Frame lines, please tell me what to see. Chopping like an axle, maybe Eisenstein should just relax. Slow down, everyone, you're moving too fast. Frames can't get you when you're moving like that. Well, Plato's cave is full of freaks, demanding refunds for the things they've seen. I wish they could believe in all the things that never made the screen. And just slow down, everyone, you're moving too fast. Frames can't get you if you're moving like that. Slow down, everyone, you're moving too fast. Frames can't get you if you're moving like that. Too fast, too